So let's go ahead and take a look at how a penetration tester could present all of this information in a manner to where it is useful to the organization. Although penetration testing reports can vary greatly from place to place, the basic anatomy of a penetration test report consists of several key sections. Let's take a brief look at these for a moment. A penetration test report will include a title page, which will clearly indicate what the report contains. We'll also include points of contact for the penetration testing firm. This is useful if there are questions after the test has been produced. Version control of the document helps to ensure that people are speaking of the same version if the report comes up in a conversation or if it needs to be referred to as part of the remediation activities. The table of contents makes it easy to find the different sections of the report. Although a penetration test will typically not be as long as a vulnerability assessment per se, it can still get pretty lengthy at times. The executive summary is super important. It will need to be targeted towards the proper audience and provide a quick overview of the most important aspects and findings of the test. Assessment highlights should be prominent. These may need to be referred to often and as such should be clear and concise. The purpose of testing will indicate the exact reason why the test took place in the first place. Now we've run out of room on this slide, so let's go ahead and move to the next slide and continue with the scope of a penetration test, which is very important as it will sometimes become a critical conversation piece. For instance, if there are many limitations on the penetration tester, the test may not be very useful. This is important information to capture in the report in case there is a breach down the road or any other issues that someone wants to know about and understand why the penetration tester was unable to find the issue. Many times, the penetration tester will be able to go back to the report and point at the scope and highlight, hey, look, you had denial of service out of scope for this test, so therefore I was unable to identify any issues that were associated with denial of service. Also, this section clearly details what the rules of engagement were. The report may contain a place to document the methodology that was used. This will help if you've ever had to repeat the steps of a test or identify if there were steps that were not performed due to limitations. A general findings section will be used to identify and document detailed findings. This is best when used with some sort of prioritization or rating system. The information should be detailed enough to where the steps can be duplicated. Although not necessarily a requirement, intelligence gathering results are sometimes important as well. They might fit under general findings sometimes, but they can also be placed in their own sections. If there are any particular facts that you want to talk about in the report about exploitation methodologies or what you had to do to exploit a finding, then you could always add an additional section for this. This becomes especially important when dealing with 0 days or with exploits that may be unfamiliar to your audiences. And last but not least, technical artifacts are useful when defending your findings. Odds are that they will not be used by anyone other than the developers or highly technical audiences at the organization, but if there's ever a question that cannot be answered using the data that you've provided in the other sections of the report, you can review the artifacts to see if the information is there.